This is Jed McKay, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 243, and you're with your Hyper's Khonshu, Ray. Hello, apologies for any traffic noise in the background. Joining me tonight for this idle chat is none other than, oh my gosh, get your recorders out. Record this voice. Justin the Owl. Osgood. Justin, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Ray, for having me, and thank you as always, loonies, for listening.
It's always a pleasure having you here, Justin. We've got a doozy to talk about. So for our idle chat, loony listeners, as you've probably seen on the title, we're going to be looking at some underrated Moon Knight artists. Is that how you coined it, Justin? I couldn't remember. Or just some underappreciated?
Kind of underrated, underappreciated. Yeah, ones that don't get a lot of recognition that maybe could or should.
Which it's going to be a fun thing. It's a companion piece almost to, we did episodes previous with top 5 Moon Knight artists and top 5 Moon Knight writers. So why not? Yeah, great idea, Justin. Why not do underappreciated ones? So Justin and I, we've got a few on our list we can go through. But before any of that, of course, a huge thank you to our patronies like yourself, Justin. Just consistently, day in, day out, just supporting the show. It's a real boon for us, and it allows us to kind of grow. I've mentioned this before as well, but the funds, all of it kind of goes into the podcast and into improving it in some way. So we are self-sustainable now with a podcasting service. We've got a website. I'm looking at a sound effects library for our serial adventures, and I'm also, Justin, looking at we've been using Zencastr before, remember? But with their paid monthly package, you actually, there's some bells and whistles there for post-production, and it will, which is really cool, and it will allow me actually to have a soundboard live while we record. So, you know, that sound that you heard,
would be lovely.
It will save a lot of time. And loony listeners, you would have heard Justin's catch cry hooting in there. All of that's in post-production, but, you know, with this soundboard, I'll be able to do it live, which will be a lot of fun. And again,
that'd be fun. Yeah.
So
much fun.
All that sort of stuff. A huge thank you to you patronies. So the big thanks to the likes of Daniel, Drew, Justin, Derek, Kyle, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Anthony, Russell, and Michael. So we're creeping up. I'm so glad to have all of you on board. Creeping up in numbers with patronies. I'm loving it. So thank you so much. Our top sponsors, of course, Tombz, Drew Tombz. He's got some music on SoundCloud and Bandcamp under Tombz with a BZ and LURKMUSICK with a CK. Go check that out. And Daniel doing FRINGE Night, an original indie comic based on Erie, Pennsylvania's very own mysterious superhero. Issue 5 is very much near completion. That will be out soon. Daniel's dropped some preview artwork. It looks really great, really cool. And finally, Dreamland Comics, the superhero superstore. Now, we've got a comment, Justin. It came through from one of our patronies, Kyle, so I might as well say it now.
I saw that. Yeah.
So let me just, I'll just flick down the prompt sheet here, and it was from Kyle. Thank you, Car Eternal from YouTube. And he says, do not waste your time going to Schoenberg. Dreamland Comics is no longer have any physical locations. If you go there, all you'll find is an empty building with a sign reading comics hanging from the ceiling. I emailed the owner and he confirmed that they are online only now. So a little sad, Justin. I mean, sign of the times.
Yeah, that is sad. I was very sad to read that, actually. That made me very wistful. Yeah,
because we know a lot of businesses have been hit with the going-ons, of course, of the last couple of years. But they've still got an online presence, so you can still.
Yeah, at least they do have a presence. That's good, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
At least they didn't fold entirely. That makes me happy.
Yeah, me too. So, but thank you so much, Kyle, for pointing that out as well, because I'm all the way over here in Australia. I wouldn't have a clue how things are over there. But it's sad to hear. But hopefully, you can still order your stuff from them online. So, Justin, we've got just a few bits of news here. I did a little bit of trawling. I thought that would be worth mentioning. I couldn't remember if I actually mentioned one of them before. But to open up, one bit of news, the Moon Knight TV show has wrapped production. So that seems to be all but confirmed. That was about 6 days ago. We're recording on the 11th of October, so the 6th or the 5th of October. That wrapped up. And there was a video, I don't know, did you see it, Justin?
I didn't see that. No, this is the first I've heard of that video, actually.
Oh, okay. It's not really that spectacular. It's just one of the crew members, they've got their handheld, they've got their phone, and they kind of go through the hotel room that they're in. And, and on the bed, there's a gift package which has the Moon Knight TV show logo on it, and it's like a thank you package for staying at the hotel. So people have inferred that that means it's kind of wrapped. So yeah, that was
that's cool. That's really cool.
Pretty cool. So we are getting a show if anyone had any doubts, and they'll be into post production now. So that's exciting news. We're still anticipating. Well, Rebecca and I, Justin, reckon it's around March and April. We'll see the Moon Knight TV show. Have you got any predictions?
I was thinking either I would love to see it sooner rather than later, don't get me wrong, but I think that they might try to make it more of a summer and or fall type of thing.
Okay.
Well, just because if it does have a supernatural edge to the show, they might want to make that more of a fall thing.
Oh, yep. That makes sense.
And I don't know if they have any big summer movie blockbusters planned for 2022.
Oh, you're right. I've got no idea.
For the theater.
Yeah.
So they may be lining things up for like we saw this summer with a few series on Disney Plus.
Is Multitudes of not Multiverse of Madness, is that out next year? Or I can't remember. I don't know.
I thought so.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was, but I don't know if it has an exact date yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think it's safe to say 2022 is the year that we'll be going through, hopefully having our watch parties, hopefully having heavy discussion on the TV show. Very exciting news. The next bit of news, look, I won't linger too long on these white noises. They're not that big. Marvel Design Vault on Amazon have released a series of clothing, like hoodies, t-shirts and all that, on the 80th anniversary of Captain America. And that includes the variant cover, the Moon Knight variant cover of number 1. So if you do like that cover, you can get that on a t-shirt or a hoodie. Are you familiar with that cover, Justin? It's the one with Moon Knight. Yeah, with the flag and and the shield as well. Yeah.
It's cool that you can get that as a hoodie now. That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I'd never heard of Marvel Design Vault, but there you go. So pick it up, loonies, all you completionists. I might. There's a lot of good stuff on superhero stuff, so that's where I usually get my stuff from. But anyway. And finally, Moon Knight number 3, that features Hunter's Moon, and we all know it's not really the first issue of the appearance of Hunter's Moon. But anyway, it trended in as the 3rd highest trending comic of that week, last week of release. So that's exciting. It shows
that's very exciting.
It shows that Moon Knight's very much in the mind's eye, I guess, of a lot of comic book fans.
Yeah, and it's been selling extremely well. Look at all of these second printings that have been going on. And I think they're even talking about a 3rd printing for one of them, aren't they?
Yes, 3rd printing for issue 1 will be out. By the time that this episode drops, it will be out on New Comic Book Day. So this week it actually drops. So get yours. I'm a bit silly, Justin. I'm deciding to pick up second printings now as well. Just I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Especially when it's Moon Knight, absolutely. Get all the covers. get the whole library of covers.
Yeah, so I mean the different covers look pretty cool. I know for the third printings, and actually the second printing of issue 2, they are distinctly different covers. They actually take the material from inside the book and turn it into a cover. So issue 2 has remember when Mark goes into the mindscape and there's that huge hulking Moon Knight? That's now the cover for issue 2 of the second printing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the third printing of issue 1 is that kind of splash shot of, the very first time you kind of see Moon Knight crash through the van of vampires. So that's, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great choice for the cover. Yeah.
Yeah. So, pick them up if you have missed out on the first printings or if you want to add to your collection. So those are the bits of news this week, Justin, but I'm more excited with our chat now of these underappreciated, underrated Moon Knight artists. So, I'd like you to open the account. Justin and I have chosen about 3, and what we also have at the end of it is artists I guess we'd want to see do Moon Knight.
Yeah, ones that either they're maybe our favorite artists or maybe ones that we think would do a really good rendition of Moon Knight just because of their particular style.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the first one the first cab off the ranks for you, Justin. Who do you think is one of the more underappreciated artists for Moon Knight?
Well, I went back and I went to Mark Spector Moon Knight for this first artist because I just love his style. It's James Fry.
Nice.
And he first appeared, I think, in issue 42, and he went all the way up through 54. And he drew also one of my favorite issues of that entire series, which was issue number 50, in which Moon Knight burned his Avengers card. I just love that issue so much. And he has such a great, unique style. I can't really compare his art style to anyone in particular because it is kind of his own. But he was also had the fortune of being matched with a extremely talented inker, Chris Ivey, who that was kind of like a dream pairing because their styles complemented each other just so well. Yeah. And what a great choice for Moon Knight, that type of art with the heavy use of shadows.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, the combo of Fry and Ivy, a lot of use of the shadows that you see, which were kind of, I mean, during that time, I think it's fair to say the likes of Sin City really did make that a popular kind of looking inking style with a lot of the play of the light and the shadow falling on to create that texture. But yeah, James Fry's got a very I don't know, I describe it as a very kind of fluid looking art. It's certainly different. I know some people aren't too keen on it as well, so there's a bit of an acquired taste. I'm kind of thinking the closest comparison I can think of is Scott McDaniel from yeah, he did some Daredevil stuff. A lot of use of the lighting and the inking in a similar way. But yeah,
I can definitely see that comparison. Scott McDaniel, that's a really good comparison. Yeah, and I wonder too if people are give this art some stick just because of the story that was framed around, because you had that crazy story where Mark was mutated and he turned into a demon, creature, and then there was dead zone flying around and all this stuff. So I wonder if people just didn't like the story, so the artwork wasn't enough to keep them invested. Maybe I wonder if that's part of it. But
I think
they could just not like the art. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think and. Again, it's just very, very much opinion and stuff, but if you didn't really like the story around that time, that wouldn't help the art. Same like vice versa. Like if you didn't really like the art, the story kind of is affected.
True.
So but
right.
Look,
you have to have a good balance of both. Yeah.
I mean, but Fry, he had a good run. Like, that's a good year of Mark Spector Moon Knight. 12 issues, 42, or, you know, or thereabouts. 12 issues, 42 to 54.
Yeah. And there was a great one where the werewolf came back. He illustrated both of those issues where the werewolf reappeared.
And as you say, he had the milestone issue of 50, which is you know, that's a nice achievement, and it's nice to say as an artist that you get to do a milestone issue, so that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and he also had Gambit was in there as well.
Yeah. There was a beautiful panel too in issue number 50 where James illustrated Moon Knight to the extent where he made him kind of look like an angelic figure. He was hanging from. I think he was hanging from Angel Wing by a rope ladder. And just the way that James Fry drew his cloak kind of billowing around, it made him look like an angel. It was really striking. It stuck in my mind after the first time I saw it. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
That's testament, isn't it, to artists, especially those that you do like. I mean, if you have these kind of images burned into your mind, I mean, they've done their job. So...
Absolutely. That stuck with me for years after I read that issue, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. So, I love James Fry, and I'd like to get some more spotlight on his artwork and get some more people appreciating it. Yeah.
Do you know other titles that he worked on? Or I don't think he's had that much in Marvel.
He's hopped around a lot. He did a lot of like fill-in stuff for annuals and one-shots and backups and things like that. The first time I saw his artwork was actually it was a comic book adaptation of a Saturday morning cartoon called Inhumanoids.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
It is absolutely bonkers insane. The show is about these giant monsters that live inside the core of the earth. One of them can decompose people and turn them into zombies. Ooh. One of them can basically is a giant plant and can create new versions of himself by splitting them off. It is absolutely insane, but I loved it when I was a kid. And they did this very, very short-lived comic book adaptation of it, and he was the artist for the first couple of issues.
Oh, right.
I made sure to remember his name after that, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, James Fry. I mean, yeah, and I mean, so yeah, he did a fair bit, like 12, as I said, 12 issues of Mark Spector Moon Knight, so a nice slab there. I wanted to just jump onto my first one because it is a Mark Spector Moon Knight one as well, by coincidence. And I picked Sal Velluto. I mean, he's an established artist. He's a big, for me, he's like a biggish name. And so he did Mark Spector. He did it from issue 1 to 24. So he did almost half of the whole run of Mark Spector Moon Knight. And I don't know, I like his art because, well, I fell in love with his art from the Christopher Priest Black Panther run, which comes later on.
He did do that one.
Yeah, he did. And the artwork is so beautiful in that. And I can't remember who inks it, but they're a match made in heaven. And it's so beautiful. It's just really interesting to see his artwork earlier on in the 90s. In Moon Knight, in the Moon Knight book for that matter as well. And there's just something, I don't know, really nice and consistent about his artwork. The same way that I really did like the likes of, I might get this wrong, Justin, but Paul Ryan and Tom Palmer from the Avengers.
Yes. Yeah, I love Paul Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Jim Lee or Rob Liefeld or Todd McFarlane art in that sense, but it's just really good, solid comic book art.
Exactly. It's classic comic book art in its purest, most distilled form, but it also has a unique flair to it that the artists bring them to themselves. So yeah, I love that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think again, Sal Velluto's early art here, it's interesting to see it, like and where he started. I'm sure he did a lot more before this, but then how he progresses into Black Panther in that run, that long run with Christopher Priest. So you get some really cool arcs here, I guess. I mean, of course, he gets the number 1 issue, which is a big one. He does the Acts of Vengeance issues with the Punisher and Jeff Wilde. I'm just flicking through here. He does the Trial of Mark Spector, which is a really cool 4-part.
That's a great story. I love that one.
It's such a different take on Moon Knight. You know, looking at his basically his war criminal days as a murder.
His past comes back to catch up with him. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. That's right in the middle of kind of his run. Then you get these weird, wacky ones. Like, I remember I jumped on Mark Spector Moon Knight around just after issue 19, because I remember picking up that issue with it's got Spider-Man, Punisher, Moon Knight.
Punisher, yeah.
And it's actually got on the cover, it's got the logo font for Wolverine. And it says something like, we don't have Wolverine here, but we know that. Yeah, which is a blatant marketing thing. Which is so funny. But there are some little arcs in here. There's one with Chainsaw. Weird kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque character. And just some other, there's that one in 24 where he's in the jungle as well. And I remember that had, I think that had Frenchie and Marlene. I think that was one where they could try to rescue him. So really, some really fun. He fights zombies in the early issues as well.
Yeah. And there was the Black Cat that made a guest appearance early on.
How good did Black Cat look with Sal Valuto's art?
Yeah.
I mean,
he did a really good rendition of her. That was fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, we're talking about underappreciated artists as well. I think similar with James Fry, Justin, I'd love to see them return as well. You know, just see how far they've come.
Do a new cover.
A cover.
Variant cover for the new series or something. Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Sal Valuto's excellent. I agree with you. He's definitely underappreciated. And my introduction to him was actually in a DC book. It was Justice League Task Force.
Oh.
Which was a spin-off book in the mid-90s, and it was like a rotating cast of characters with Martian Manhunter as the sole
nice.
As the sole constant member, and he was kind of the leader. And Sal Valuto's artwork was great in that. I think he did the first year of that one.
Oh, fantastic!
And, he's very talented, and he works really good with whatever inker he's paired with too. And some artists you can't really say that about.
That's true.
But with Sal, I mean, he had Tom Palmer and Mark Spector Moon Knight, who's a great inker, but they worked fantastic together. There was never a conflict.
I guess that's part of the reason why I didn't realize that. Sorry, Justin, I didn't realize Tom Palmer did that to the inks. That's probably what really got me thinking about that Avengers run and liking it to this one, because
same inker,
same inker. Yeah, well, he does have a very.
He was doing double duty for a while. He was doing Avengers for, I think the better part of a decade, if not longer. But he was doing a bunch of other books too. Yeah,
but he has such a recognizable inking style, I think. So I mean, and so I guess kudos as much has to go to Tom Palmer as well. With Sal Valuto, I think they make a really good pair.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How about your second choice, Justin?
My second choice is the legendary Mark Teixeira.
Yes. Wow, no stranger to Marvel or comic books.
Right.
Yeah.
And just recently, a few years ago, when I was looking over those Masters of the Universe mini-comics that you and I love so much, I discovered that he did the artwork in a large chunk of those.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, that's incredible. But if you read those, you can definitely see it. You can see his style in there. But I just love anything that he does, really. I'll read whatever he's drawing, basically.
Yeah.
So I loved him in High Strangers, that whole 4-issue series, and of course,
crazy story.
Crazy story with the aliens.
Insane. Yeah. But his Moon Knight there is really cool. I mean, I can remember there's a splash page, I think in issue 1, where he's down on the rope ladder or he jumps off the moon jet. Really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he does a lot of great images of Moon Knight kind of in action, flying with his flying through the air, like using his glider cape, or like just about to launch himself at someone. And we saw a lot of that in the actual series that he illustrated after. Was he the one that followed up David Finch, or was there another artist in between? I can't remember.
There was another artist in between. Actually, the one is one of my underappreciated artists as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's we've actually we picked similar.
We did some parallels here.
We did.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so you're mentioning Volume 5 Moon Knight, and Mark Texeira, he takes on, I guess, when Benson writes as well. I mean, we've covered a couple of those Black Spectre issues, Justin. So issue 14 to issue 25, he does. Yeah, he does
quite a lengthy run on that series.
And one of the things to note, I guess, his Moon Knight is actually has a distinct look. Apart from the David Finch and the Miko Suian issues, his Moon Knight to me comes across more white, like the face, and it's just a little, which is cool. I mean, it's such a different look for him, and he loses that. He does it. He uses shadows every now and again, but you tend to see him more as a white figure, but yeah, really cool. Texeira, I mean, Ghost Rider. I just love his stuff.
Yeah, You collected that one too, didn't you, Ray? The 1990s Ghost Rider.
Yes, I did. I loved it. That's how I think I got into Texeira. He did some Punisher as well. And he did some Hercules. I've got the new 12 labors of Hercules. He did that.
Oh,
yeah. I can't remember for the life of me the writer, but it was a really fun kind of take.
Oh, I bet that's great with his artwork for Hercules.
Yeah,
I bet that's great. Yeah,
it's really cool. So
I'll have to read that.
So Mark Texeira, really good choice.
Thank you,
Justin. And I can see him. Like, if we're looking at today's series, and the tone that Jed MacKay has kind of created, I can actually see Mark Texeira pencil that. Not to say that.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, not to say I don't want to take anything away from Alessandro Cappuccio, but I think that tone that just comes with Texeira art, I think would work really well.
Yeah, like if Alessandro Cappuccio ever needed a break. Yes. Like for an issue or something, yes. I could see Mark Texeira coming in and doing like a fill-in issue, and there would be no interruption in the flow at all. It wouldn't be a road bump in the story whatsoever. It'd be fantastic.
And actually, I mean, because again, Cappuccio was a great artist as well, but Texeira with his experience. Because I looked on Marvel Wiki. This is where I found him, where I got, in our prompt sheet, the info, Justin, and he's got 122 comic book issues of Marvel that he's penciled. So that's pretty high. I mean,
that is pretty high. And he's done some DC stuff as well.
Yes.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, he's been around for yonks. Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about him in the 90s, and it's 2021 now. So
right.
30 odd years and then some. So yeah.
And I love that he's still doing stuff like the Hercules. I love that. Yeah,
absolutely,
that's awesome.
I think, and as well, like some artists, their art kind of develops and their style changes, which for the better or worse. Texeira's been pretty consistent, and I'm not saying that in the sense that he hasn't developed, because he's a phenomenal artist, but he's definitely kept that signature look with his works.
True. It is very recognizable in a good way.
Yeah, in a very good way.
And it's distinct. It's very distinctive.
Yeah. And I think the pairing with him and Javier Solteras, they were, again, looking at the Ghost Rider one, and I believe he may have done that in the... sorry?
Yeah, he did a little bit for the Moon Knight issues, too, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so that's another dream team, those two working together.
Yeah, very cool. And right. And he's done some. Solteras has done some recent stuff for the Spirit of Vengeance in some of the more recent one shots, I think. for Ghost Rider. Yeah, so he's
nice.
Yeah, so he's still around. I think there's that whole drive with Marvel to actually bring a lot of the classic creators back. Like, they've got Louise Simonson coming back to do a tale on New Mutants, which is really cool.
Ooh, that is cool.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for Bill to come back for Moon Knight. That would be or Doug. That would be great.
Oh, I would love that. I would love, even if it's just for an issue, like
just for
an issue, like
just for a one shot.
Or an annual or something.
Yeah.
It would be so great. And I was thinking today how wonderful it would be to have Doug and Don Perlin, who's still active.
Yes.
Do something together, some backup story or some little thing.
Don's in his 90s. It's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
It's great.
It's incredible. I love it.
I'd love to see that for sure. Now we're talking about parallels here, Justin. So I'm going to bounce to my other one.
Yes, let's hear your second choice. Yeah,
Miko Suoyan. It's funny. He kind of fills the gap between David Finch and Mark Texeira, as you mentioned. So just a short run on Moon Knight. So Volume 5, issues 9 to 12 only, and that was the Midnight. Was it called Midnight Suns?
Midnight Sun.
Yeah, Midnight Sun. Yeah, with Jeff
S-U-N.
Yeah. So that was with Jeff Wild, some very grisly kind of artwork there. I thought he was a good choice to follow up from David Finch because his art is, in a lot of ways, kind of similar to David Finch. So it wasn't as jarring, I think, for readers to get David Finch and then move on to another artist. But yeah, I've been a fan of his art for a long time, and he's one of my fellow Filipinos. So,
nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So he's big in the Philippines, in the comic book community at least. He's one of the bigger ones.
What other things has he done besides Moon Knight? I haven't heard of his other work.
Yeah, he's done a lot of Valiant comics, which I really love.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's done some Bloodshot. I can't. Just having a look at some of my deluxe editions at the back. I couldn't name him. I think he's done a whole heap of Bloodshot. But he does a lot of covers as well. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where he's from, but he's always been around, and I see him a lot on Twitter. He doesn't mind doing a lot of stuff. I think he does some DC work as well, dare I say. I'm not too sure, but very active. Yeah, very, very active member.
Yeah, I think he did a variant cover, didn't he, for one of the more recent issues?
Oh, we would have. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I seem to remember a picture of Moon Knight with a bunch of blood all over his cowl with his fists up.
Oh, yeah. That could very much... Yes, he did. You're right. That was one of the harder ones to get. But yeah, no, for sure. You're right. I think Miko Suoyan did do it. I think he does a lot of covers. And I'm not sure whether he's shying away from doing actual comics, but proof is in the pudding with issues 9 to 12. I think very high quality stuff.
Yeah, that is some definitely great artwork. I love that stuff. I feel bad I forgot about him when we were talking earlier. I was like, who's it that filled in between the two? I think maybe in my head it was just because they're Finch and his style, at least at that time period, where, like you said, they're kind of not similar, but very...
they are kind of, yeah. They're like...
so maybe...
Sorry?
Yeah, maybe that's why my brain didn't remember that.
Ah, yes. Yeah. But very cool stuff. How about your third one here, Justin?
My third one is going back all the way to Fist of Khonshu. Chris Warner.
Yes.
Who illustrated 5 out of 6 of those issues.
Yeah, interesting. He didn't do the last one. I don't know whether something maybe scheduling or something, but his artwork's very strong, and it's just strange that he doesn't do the last of a mini-series.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what happened with that. But
unless, of course, I've never really investigated, unless Fist of Khonshu was meant to be an ongoing regular. I can't remember.
I kind of think that it was. I feel like the cancellation on that was very abrupt because I I remember when I was first reading that, I was going through the letters pages to see if there was any announcement of a cancellation. I don't remember one.
Right. Yeah, it's a strange one. It's one of those, I think, hidden gems. I mean, I've mentioned it before. I initially didn't like it, but I've really grown to love it. The art is always good. It's very, again, in a lot of ways, Justin, very classic. Older decade comics.
Yeah, it's very kind of pulpy.
Yes, that's it.
And again, not to sound like a broken record about the inkers, but I think a lot of that has to do with the inker E.R. Cruz.
Oh, right, yes. Yep.
Who did the inks on this, and just a beautiful, beautiful job with making it look very kind of pulpy and old school adventure-ish, but also 1980s comic book style. And what a great rendition of Morpheus we get in issue number 3, with all that crazy mindscape stuff and him giving his fraction of his power to other people. That was a great issue.
It's just, and the detailing in all these issues it's phenomenal. You know, the background stuff, like even say with Morpheus, as you're saying, I've just got visions again of when he's talking to his, I don't know, his cult. They're in that kind of dilapidated building, and Marlene, I think it's Marlene, is creeping around amongst the rubble. You can really, it really does evoke a whole environment for you. And so that, again, testament to Chris Warner and Cruz for just beautiful artwork.
Yeah. I love going back to read those issues just because of the artwork. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with the story. And also, like I said, during my Isla Raw sessions, I think that's probably the sexiest that Mark Spector has ever looked. That first issue with the diving board and him shirtless in the bed, I was like, oh my God, Mark.
Well, I tell you, I'm excited to see it reprinted and remastered. You know, just kind of freshened up, because you know, reading it from the pages, again, from age, pages wear out and stuff, so you get a different quality. It'd be good to see revitalized. And
we are going to see it next year, I think, right? In the omnibus, so that's really exciting.
Exactly. Yep. So not long now. And just so a little note, Mark Beecham, I'm really unfamiliar with that artist, Justin, but he does the final issue of Fist of Khonshu. Tidbit.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him too much either. I don't remember that last issue very much.
Maybe we should do a follow-up Idle Chat, Justin, with underappreciated artists, and he could be in that
underappreciated.
My final pick. It's again. I mean, if we're talking about underrated, underappreciated, he really has only a couple of issues under his belt of Moon Knight, but I picked him because he's one of my favorites. Juan Jose Rip. He has been around as well for a while. And again, I got introduced to his art from the Valiant comics that he did.
Nice.
And hyper detailed, but I don't know, I just really love it. I mean, his characters can come across as looking a bit cartoonish, but just the level of detail that he invests in each of the panels, it's just phenomenal. He, I think he did some variant covers or regular covers for Contagion. So there was that event not that long ago with Moon Knight in it. He did the covers for that. So a really good artist. So anyway, he did 2 issues of Vengeance of the Moon Knight, the last 2, volume 9 and 10. But yeah, just I don't know, one of my personal, an indulgence for me, one of my personal faves. And again, I'd love to see him do a bit more Moon Knight if he was able to.
And some variant covers, or like we're talking about some fill-in issues.
Yeah. Oh, are you familiar with his?
I'm not really
Okay.
No, not really. I actually haven't read Vengeance of the Moon Knight.
Of course.
And Marvel Knights, stuff,
okay.
and the Bendis run are all still unread by me.
Right.
I'm saving all of those.
Oh yeah, it's worth it's worth finding some time to just sit down and enjoy them all. But yeah, Juan Jose Rip, I can't remember where else last I saw him. He's still around. He's still doing stuff.
Yeah, I just looked up some samples of his stuff, and I really like it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Arthur Adams, a little bit.
Yeah,
like you were saying, the really super detailed style. I really like that.
Yeah, to me, there's almost like an indie vibe to his artwork. So just a little bit like what you wouldn't expect from like a Marvel or a DC comics. But he did fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he did a fantastic series in Valiant called Britannia. It was about one of the very first detectioners, they were called. It's during ancient Rome, and he's actually a detective, Antonius. And he goes through some detective work, some supernatural stuff, some pseudo-religious stuff. It's really, really cool. But why does he rip? A big tip of the hat to him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, hopefully he will do more, because what was that, only 3 issues that he did?
Oh, yeah, only a couple. Yeah, 9 and 10 I've got here, last 2. So, with his run on Moon Knight, Vengeance of the Moon Knight, you saw the black Moon Knight suit as well. There's like a stealth suit. He mixes it with the Secret Avengers, so he does that. I mean, that's one of the memorable bits.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay, well, as for then, I mean, Justin, how about some artists that you would like to see do Moon Knight that not necessarily that haven't done him before?
Yeah, I have a short little list here, actually. The first one is Kyle Hotz, who recently did a variant cover, I think for number 2 of the new series. And it was one that I tried to get, but I wasn't quick enough, and now it's is that the purple one with Moon Knight on the rooftop? Yeah, and he's got kind of claws almost.
Yes. Yeah.
In that image. Yeah.
Really nice. Really
good. He's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I first encountered his art. I think he was doing Doctor Strange in the 90s for a little while.
Oh.
And then I followed him over to Malibu. He did some Ultraverse stuff. He did a title, Steve Englehart title called The Nightman. And
cool.
I just love his artwork. He's great. And I know that I was so excited to see him do a Moon Knight variant. I was like, oh my God, finally.
Have you got it? I think that's one of the more expensive covers. I couldn't get it.
It is. I couldn't get it either. I wasn't quick enough on that, and now it's beyond my grasp. But
as with all those kind of variants, the 1 to 25s or whatever, they're just so hard, aren't they? They're like
tough.
40 US, or it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, there was that Ivan Race one that I really wanted for number 3 that just about blew my mind the first time I saw it. But then I saw the price and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. I saw that on eBay. I was just surfing eBay the other day. It's like, yep, never going to get that one. But I'd love to, but I don't think I'll be able to get it. Yeah.
Look, what about for you, Ray? What was one of your favorite? One of your choices?
I was just really kind of thinking about who I really do love to see, and he doesn't do work these days anymore, but it's one of the biggies. It's Joe Quesada. I like his art. Yeah. So he did Daredevil. He did Exo Manowar from Valiant Comics. Again, a very signature style. And I think he can do dark. He did X Factor, of course, as well. I think he can do like dark and gritty. So, I mean, not that Moon Knight has to be, but I just think that his artwork would suit Moon Knight. So, yeah, Joe Quesada.
I agree. I can definitely see that. I can see that because he also illustrated Azrael, for DC, the Denny O'Neil miniseries that introduced that character, and Azrael doesn't really look a lot like Moon Knight, but with the cowl and everything, you can kind of see a little bit of the framework of the character there, and yeah, that would look really cool.
Yeah, so Joe Quesada, I mean, he's obviously gone to do bigger and better things as editor-in-chief and creative director of such and such. But yeah, in another reality, I'd love him to go pick up the pencils again and do it. How about your other one? Have you got a couple there, Justin?
Yeah, I got a couple more. Luke McDonnell.
Oh, that name rings a bell.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still active or anything that he's done recently, but in the 80s he was pretty omnipresent. He did a lengthy run on Iron Man.
Yep.
When Denny O'Neil was writing it, and
he was omnipresent. Justin.
Yeah, he was all over the place. He was omnipresent, and he also did Suicide Squad for DC. From issue number 1 with John Ostrander. So,
nice.
I love his artwork. It's very dark and moody, and I think it would. And when we were talking about the Punisher annual featuring the artwork of the great Bill Reinhold, I kept wanting to compare his artwork to someone else, and it was Luke McDonnell. I kept trying to think of his style, and I kept thinking, gosh, I would love to see Luke McDonnell do a Moon Knight. And he did a bunch of other stuff, too, for DC and Marvel. And he also did Dreadstar, one of my favorites, for First. He did a run on that for a while.
Yeah, nice. So. Dreadstar, for sure. Far out.
Yeah.
I know one of your all-time faves. So
Definitely, yes.
Look, I've got a bit of a list here, but I'm gonna truncate it. I will pick... I think Elena Casagrande. I don't know if you know. She's kind of new on the scene, so I thought I'd pick some... No, I haven't. Okay. Yeah, I thought I'd pick some modern, like some current ones as well as some oldies. Elena Casagrande, she's currently doing the Kelly Thompson Black Widow series. Oh,
yeah, you were telling me about that one.
It's so gorgeous. Yeah. It's just phenomenal. And she's got so much talent. She can do action scenes. She can do, just close-ups of like portrait of characters. Her layouts are fantastic, but her art is just, it's, I don't know who to liken it to. Maybe, not even, but maybe Joelle Jones, that kind of art. But really, really cool. And since she's doing Black Widow, she can obviously do some characters that, have a secret past or have a dirty past. I reckon she can do Moon Knight as well.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I'll have to check out that Black Widow series. You've definitely got me interested in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I started collecting it. I got like issues 1 and 2, and then I missed out because my LCS, they don't order massive amounts, so I missed out on issue 3. And that was enough for me to go, oh, okay, I missed the boat. I'll just wait for trade. But it's definitely worth looking in trade, or at least just checking out in general. Yeah. How about a final one for you, Justin?
Sure. My final one would be, although he has illustrated Moon Knight before, it was a long time ago, and I think it was only once, Mark Silvestri.
Oh, nice. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, he did one of the backups.
He did. He's very early.
The first round.
Almost unrecognizable. His artwork.
Yeah, so different. Yeah. So different. And that's why I would love to see a rendition now to see how he would illustrate him now. I always really liked his style a lot. I mean, I know that it was kind of the 90s style for a while, was to copy him and a couple of other people's, but I always loved it. And when he started Cyberforce for Image, that was one of the early Image ones that I really enjoyed, not only because of his artwork, but the stories were always really good and the writing was good.
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah, I'd love to see a new rendition of Moon Knight by him.
Yeah, again, Super Team with him and Dan Green, I remember, really good on inks with Uncanny X-Men. I think one of my favorite issues, issue 251. It's got that purple cover with Wolverine on the crucifix, the X crucifix.
Yes, after the Reavers come and put the boots to the X-Men. Yeah, that's right.
What a cool! I love that kind of era. Anyway, Mark Silvestri's.
Yeah, that was a great dark story.
Yeah. Look, I'll pick one here. So hard to pick. I'll go for something a bit odd. Clayton Crane. Have you heard of him?
No, that's another one I haven't heard of.
Okay, he's really cool. Again, Valiant Comics is where I've come across him. He did Rye. So I know your co-host Justin Russell is a huge Rye fan.
Okay.
But he does like a painted. It's like one of those kind of painted looking. I don't know, artworks of comics. He does a lot of covers. It's kind of like if you think of maybe a cyberpunk horror-tinged version of Mark Brooks. It's kind of like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, that kind of, I think that tone would work well for Moon Knight. And again, I think that would be really, really cool. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check out some of his stuff because I like that description.
Oh yeah, look, I'll have to send you. Yeah, I mean, if you Google it, but I'll love to send you some images of his stuff. Really cool. Yeah, it can really go the horror route. But yeah, look, nice. Justin, before we go to a break, do you want to shout out any other names before we wrap up the show with some night lines?
Oh yeah, from the first Moon Knight series, Kevin Nowlan.
Oh yeah, cool.
He came in to fill some very big shoes when Bill Sienkiewicz left.
Yes,
and I thought he did an amazing job. I love all of his stuff, and I think it was only maybe 5 issues that he did, but
okay,
those were really fantastic ones.
Oh yeah, no, he's great as well. And look, honorable mention I'll give to Gary Kwapitz. So again, he was from Mark.
Oh yeah,
Mark Spector Moon Knight. Again, just very solid art. I don't know how else to describe it. With the inks, and I think Tom Palmer again does the inks, so that helps a lot. But issues 39 to 44, Gary Kwapitz. So he does Moon Knight versus Doom.
That was a big one. That was a great story.
That was a huge one. And he does the Infinity War kind of crossovers. Yeah. Well,
he's great.
He's really good. Very underrated. We're talking about underrated. I really don't know much else about him other than the Mark Spector run. So.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that was the only thing I know that he did. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Loonies, you've got plenty of artists to now explore and investigate. If you don't know of them, again, they'll all be in the show notes. Go check them out, and let us know what you think. Do they tick the boxes as far as Moon Knight artists go? Are they worthy of taking on the mantle of Moon Knight artists? Drop us a line. Let us know. Anyway, Justin, we'll go to a quick break, and I think let's wrap up this show we've got some feedback, just some odds and ends. But listeners, we'll be right back after a couple of these messages with our nightlines. See you soon.
Are you a fan of comic books? Are you a fan of comic book villains? Well, join me, Russell, as we take a walk on the dark side with Tombz of Evil, the podcast dedicated to discussing, analyzing, and overall glorifying the villains of Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and all your favorite indie books.
Tombz of Evil, a comic book villain podcast.
Hi, this is Al of Resurrections, an Adam Warlock and Thanos podcast, and proud member of the collective, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. I am with Justin, the Owl. Osgood, and we are hooting our way through this idle chat, Justin. Now, we just spoke about our most underappreciated and our wish lists for Moon Knight artists. So that was cool. Again, a very good topic. Thank you for coming up with that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah. And to round out now, we've just got a bit of feedback. I'd like to shout out our fellow loonies. Justin, shall we alternate this as per what we've done before?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. How about I take the Facebook page, and because that's a long one,
okay.
and then do you want to take potentially the rest?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, from our Facebook page, this is in response to episode 241, the Chorus of Ordination, where we spoke to Jed McKay, Russell and Noel, and Keith, host from Inside the Bunker podcast. He says, finally had a chance to listen to the episode. Great interview and apt of cool things to look forward to in the coming months. Thank you so much, Keith. Yes, we had a blast chatting with Jed, and hopefully we'll get him again as his series progresses.
That was a great interview. Yeah, that was a super. Yeah, I loved listening to that. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, Justin, if you want to have a chat, and if we can tee up a time with Jed, I'd love to have you on there.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do that soon.
Yeah, so fingers crossed, and hopefully Jed will be up for it. But he seems like such a cool dude, so I'm sure he would. So thank you, Keith. Also, we have Mario Di Giacomo, and he writes in, thanks for including my questions. Again, we read out Mario's questions to Jed. Now, I have a couple of theories about who the big bad should be, but they are all pretty out there. And so I said to him, Mario, I said, let us know, it'd be fun. He goes, I tend to think like a detective, and the evidence for the big bad, henceforth BB, is pretty slim. Number one, he's an irregular Moon Knight adversary. That rules out a few. Number two, his usual MO has a large body count, and he's a bit flashy. Number three, he really dislikes Mark's faith in Khonshu, such as it is. That suggests an atheist or nihilist, and a particularly zealous one. Number four, he's not a sophisticated sort, uses words like pal and pizzazz. Number five, he might be British. Bespoke is a rather unusual term for an American to say. I can hear you say bespoke, Justin.
Bespoke. I love that.
Anyway, Mario goes on. Now, both the Carnage and Bullseye fit the bill, but they are tied up with other stories, so I did some poking around and there are a few possibilities. And he says, number one, Arcade, but Jed ruled him out. Number two, Jude, the Entropic Man, a really out there choice. It's interesting. Number three, Centurious, pretty obscure. But my favourite oddball possibility is the Ghost Rider villain named Suicide. So, Mario goes on further to say he sees some vampiric kind of connotations, of course, with Reese and such. And he basically posits the question of Deacon Frost from Blade. So, interesting. And thank you, Mario, for those. Justin, what do you reckon of Suicide and Deacon Frost?
I haven't thought about Suicide, that character, in a long time. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happened to him. I
don't know either. Yeah. He just basically wanted to
burned up at one point into a skeleton, but all of his flesh and muscle and everything grew back.
Yeah. Interesting character. I don't know. Yeah, I think he's kind of left in obscurity. But Deacon Frost will be interesting, like a vampire.
Deacon Frost, that's definitely more possible. I could definitely see that happening, especially with this vampire element that we have going on. I would love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So thank you very much, Mario, for that. And Justin, you have just a few here?
Sure, yeah. From the Facebook group, we have, in response to episode 242, I Am the God of Hellfire, in which we talked about Punisher Annual number 2. Mm-hmm. Douglas Jonathan Vincent, hello, writes, I thought it was interesting to see Mark and Frank getting along so well in their first meeting, especially after having read the Round Robin story arc and the lead up to it in Mark Spector Moon Knight, where they were at each other's throats the whole time. Also, apparently Mark is about as loose with his supposedly secret identity as Nighthawk was back in the 70s and 80s Defenders comics. But it was great to see Frank a bit out of his element fighting snake people. Well, at least it wasn't the giant alien spider from Marvel Knights, right?
Absolutely, Doug. Yeah, absolutely. Nice. That is funny. Actually, Justin, you're talking about Marvel Knights. That is a very out there story as well. But Frank
I didn't know about that. Giant alien spider.
Oh, yeah. But Frank's tangled with some weird stuff as well. War of the Realms, he takes on some crazy villains there. But no, thank you, Doug. Thank you for that as well. And his secret identity is a bit It is a bit loose. It's not as tight knit as, say, Spidey's. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a bit more trusting than he probably should be sometimes.
Yeah.
This is a good identity.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then from YouTube, we have a couple of comments. We have one which you read at the beginning of the show about Dreamland Comics. And then CMK7 writes, and this is in response to episode 240. We Are Moon Knight.
Yes.
Terrific review of these Lemire issues, guys. Like Drew, I am really taken with Smallwood's art. He truly has a unique style that sits among the top artists of Moon Knight for me. Also, I believe the cover art for this run collectively is the best Moon Knight has ever had, which I think I would kind of agree with that.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And it's hard to argue against that, I think. It's just phenomenal. My favourite's issue 2. It's that that one that I think Greg Smallwood revealed that Jake Thomas, the editor, said, look, I want a cover that looks like an album cover. So Greg Smallwood came up with that, and it's just brilliant. Drew, Justin, one of your biggest fans. Sure, well, you've got many fans, so yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I always appreciate the compliments, yeah.
Yes.
And then in response to episode 241, the interview with Jed McKay, he writes, incredible interview. ITK never ceases to amaze me with the quality of guests, co-hosts, and content. I loved hearing from Jed, what an intelligent but good-humored and down-to-earth guy. Hearing his perspectives on Moon Knight continues to reaffirm me that our beloved Mooney is in great hands, and those scoops, oh my, can't wait for the next issue. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I'm counting down the days until we see Tigra.
Oh, exactly. And I'm counting down the days for Stained Glass Scarlet. I can't wait.
Oh, yes.
And,
that too. Yeah, that too.
Jed did say, some people might be a little irked by how he portrays her, but I'm just curious. I'd love to see. But thank you so much, Chris. As always, it's so great to hear from you. Please keep them coming. We love to hear from you.
Yeah. And also a few from Instagram, also in response to episode 242. Destructo Disc Designs writes, that man just ate a gerbil.
Look, I just wanted to put that in there as well. It's a very nice comment. But Destructo Disc Designs, I've got to give them a plug. They're such great peeps over there. They do clothing and Media Patrol. They do the pins. So yeah, we have a lot of fun over on Instagram with them. Go check them out on Instagram as well. They've got great clothes. And
I love my pin. I think that they created as well. Yeah, I've got one of those limited edition Moon Knight pins. I love it. Yeah. And also on Instagram, SK Metal writes, over the top, but I enjoy MK's use of hypnosis to snap Frank out of his drug-induced mania. Great fun.
Yeah, that was a bit of a moment, I think, for me. One of the highlights of that issue. Just really left the field thinking from Moon Knight, which is great because it shows his smarts. But yeah, to hypnotize Frank with a glint from the dart is something that you usually wouldn't expect from Moon Knight.
No, and I don't think he's done that since, so that was just a one-time.
Exactly. One time only. Like, I'm never doing it again.
That's right. I'm only going to use this on Frank this one time, and then that's it. Yeah.
So thank you once again, listeners, for all your feedback. It's great to hear. Some of them, a bit late, and they didn't make it onto the show when we were reviewing those said issues and such. But this is the beauty of the Idle Chat. We can get to shout it out at least posthumously, and it's always great to hear from you. So it's never too late to send in feedback. But yeah, that pretty much rounds it out. Justin, it's always been a pleasure. I apologize for the slight constriction of time.
No, don't worry about that. That's totally fine. Not a problem.
Had a blast. I mean, just talking about these artists. We can go on forever about them. Can just wax lyrical about a lot of these artists. I had a whole other list here. Look, I'm just going to say quickly, Paul Galassi, Ron Friends, Mark Cicchetto and Nicholas Scott were my other wish lists. Just all great artists. So, we could have spent like another half hour on each of them. But thank you so much.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had a few as well in there.
Also on my list too was just a couple other ones. Mike Manley, who did Darkhawk in the early 90s.
Yep.
I really liked his style. Mm-hmm. And J.H. Williams III, who is famous for Sandman and cool. Batwoman. But he did that beautiful Batwoman series over at DC. I thought he would, at the very least, do a beautiful painted cover of Moon Knight.
Oh, awesome! That'd be nice. I'm gonna have to grab that list off you because I want to put all of these names on the show notes. But listeners, check out any or all of those artists. You won't be disappointed, I guarantee. Justin, is there anything you want to plug? I know that you're busy with Tombz of Evil as well.
Yes,
a couple of great
Tombz of
episodes.
Evil. We have, we've got a lot of stuff coming up this month. Actually, we have a special featuring none other than yourself, and we'll be talking about Skeletor from the Masters of Evil in comic books. Yep. And we're also going to be talking about Marvel Monsters, Marvel Monster Mayhem.
Awesome.
A whole show just about some of our classic Marvel monsters of the past.
Fantastic.
We've also got some new subscriptions, some new sub shows coming out as well. We've got 3 of those debuting in the next couple of weeks as well. So we've got a lot of stuff coming out.
Oh, go check it out, Loonies. Of course, Tombz of Evil, fellow collective members, great friends of the show. A lot of content coming your way from their stables. Fantastic stuff. Well, next phase, Loonies, episode 244, it's going to be an Other Side of the Moon. So that's Moon Knight in comics other than his own. And Justin will be joining us again. We pre-recorded it, so your past self again, Justin, and past Ray.
Some time traveling.
Some time traveling again. So we'll be, when you hear us, we'll be unaware of our conversation now. So Marvel Fanfare 39. It's a very small 7-page, 8-page Moon Knight story. It's a backup story from 39, and it's titled Bleep. So, a very strange one. A lot of fun we had, Justin, with this one. Yeah, exactly. It's funny.
That was a great fun to review that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and incidentally, that is a companion. It's a complementary to another episode that we've done, which is a bonus episode, which will drop in November. So exclusive to Patroni. So that covers the main story of Marvel Fanfare 39 that features Hawkeye. So not Moon Knight related, but as I mentioned, Justin and I, we love making these bonus episodes, and they're not necessarily Moon Knight based, but if you love your comics, and if you want to support the show, then you'll grab these bonus episodes. They're coming out once a month. But yeah, very proud to have them done, and especially to get to chat with you, Justin.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing these bonus episodes, definitely.
Yeah.
We always have good chats, and we always learn some new things, too.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got a few more in the pipeline, baby, so don't worry. They're coming in. We've just got to find the time. So fantastic. So, Justin, a big thank you once again, and I'm going to say it because let's not break the magic. I'll see you later on in the week.
Oh, yes, definitely. We'll see you then.
All right, catch you, loonies. Please consider checking out our Into the Night Patreon page on patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. There are plenty of incentives there, like uncut material, bonus episodes, and more, and any contribution will help expand the show. We're sponsored by Fringe Night by Daniel Doing, and you can support his Patreon page at patreon.com/FringeNight27. Also, Tombz by Drew Tombz can be supported via his SoundCloud website on soundcloud.com/Tombz with a Z. Drew Tombz also produces horror and sci-fi based music on LURKMUSICK. That's LURKMUSICK with a CK. And you can support his music on Bandcamp at lurkmusic.bandcamp.com. We're also sponsored by Dreamland Comics. the Superhero Superstore. Use the code MOON to get a promo of 20% off any online back issues. Finally, we're part of The Collective, which is an informal network of like-minded podcasters. It's a repository of ideas, and we also like crossing over and supporting each other. Please check out all of these shows in our show notes under The Collective. Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Material used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.